The last few days have been somewhat of a physical manifestation of somebody who's listening emotion. A day where it's sunshine and it's warm and you feel good at other times, and the times where it's a little gloomy and it's dark. And even now and then, it's a little bit of rain sprinkled in with a little bit of cold, and you have the perfect formula for someone to do something that we have to live with. And since my friend decided to make this decision, since he's lost that battle with depression, I have been on a bit of a warpath. I've been going at it every way I can. I realized something, that I cannot do this by myself. I need for others to join in on this. The criteria does not require you to take any type of college courses or be the most smartest person in the room. You simply have to be able to be available and listen. Somebody has come into you right now telling you all the worst things that can happen to them. And the only question you should ask them is, do you want me to listen or offer you advice? And if they ask you to listen, simply listen. And when they're done, tell them, thank you, because I hear you. And I say that because I had another conversation with another person who simply just needed me to listen. And I sat on the phone for about 30 minutes, heard everything this person said, which I would not share here. I would keep it confidential. And that was enough to change their life. That was enough for them to make the phone call. So if you're sitting here listening to this and you're not sure what's going on, simply ask the question, do you need me to listen or do you want advice? And when you're giving advice, be very slow to respond. Don't look at it on how you would handle it. Try to look at it from a person who sees their days with some sunshine, some rain, a little bit of cold, and not so good. Do that and help me fight this, because I can't do it by myself. And I can't talk to every single person by myself. This is what we are here for. This is what a pride does. We support each other. So if for any reason you can help, please do so. And if you are that person who is sitting here thinking of doing something that evolves around you harming yourself, please don't. Contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. And if that's still not enough, while I'm only one person, I'm doing my damnedest to make myself available to everyone. All I need is a simple message of, we need to talk. That's all I need. We need to talk. No matter how you send it, where you send it, we need to talk is all I need. Get that to me and we will talk. Now let's talk football. Pride Nation, welcome back to another Field Review podcast show. I am so happy to be back. It has been a very trying week. I really want to do a lot of things, and whether it was work or somebody needed to talk, I put myself out there and I said, you know what, football can wait. There was people who reached out to me that needed a conversation, and an ear to listen, a shoulder to lean on, and a hand to lift them up. And you know what? At that point, I figured football wasn't that important. But you should be focusing on my pictures, because anytime I make a post and I put a particular pick up, it's a reason for that thumbnail. It says the future is now. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm finna double down on my prediction for the draft. I'm also going to get you guys his final prediction. I'm going to let you give y'all shot to put it in there, okay, to put your final prediction on what you think the Lions are going to do. But I am getting ready to double down on my prediction because I think the evidence is there. Now, I did this before where I doubled down on my prediction with Isaiah Simmons, and I was wrong. However, my caveat that I put on that double down was still true. I said, and quote, that if you allow Dead Man Walking to make a pick, they're not picking for the future. They're going to panic and pick for the present. And I was right about that. So we'll get into it, people. But let's see who's in the building with me. My man BD Butters in the building. Looney Tunes in the building. John Kapler, Ghost Gunner in the mix. My man Anthony's in the building from Roar to Lions UK. We got my man James Tinsley in the building. Had our house 70s in the 710s in the building. James Harrington, buffed up. Marcel Edwards, One Pride 40 is in the building. Bulgarians is in the building. That fan man is in the building. We got my man Free 313, Top Dog, Lions Lee is in the building. Shout out to you, John Kaplan says, Amen, Luke. Craig Bevins in the building. Sky Guy is in the building. Let me see, make sure I ain't miss nobody. One Funky Lions fan, Dr. Detroit, Go Lions, Craig Ferguson, Meg Thomas. Thanks, Craig. I'm trying. Makai Holt, Dirty Glove Williams. Shout out to you, sir. Sheldon McCrae's in the building. Forbidden Knowledge. Joey 2 times. Just Adrian's in the building. Ted Chaney is in the building. Let me try and forget nobody. Man, y'all in here today. Q is in the building. Gino. Let's see. Marcellus Edwards, Friendly Neighborhood Lions fan. 9 Drinks. My man Drew, who I'm sure is about to give me a new one. But hear me out. Hear me out. Oh, one of my co-hosts is William is in the building. What's going on? Scariest week as a Lions fan since the 2014 playoffs against the Cowboys. I wasn't scared against that game. I actually thought we should have won it, and we know what happened. Let's see. We got D-Map Zoom is in the building. Let's see. Who else? Make sure I catch everybody. Dr. Paparoni. Detroit Made Me is in the building. Ghostface, Joel C. If you in here, man, put your name in so I can give you a shout out, people. I want y'all to know that I do care. Blue Jay Sarge's in the building. Tick Tock Malak. Oh, that's a new one. Never saw that one. What's good, brother? All right, here we go. I'm dabbling down on my stuff. Crimson Shadows in the building. I see you. Cap Ice Cole's in there. I see you. I'm dabbling down on it, and I'm dabbling down on my prediction that the Lions are actually getting ready to take Kyle Hamilton. And I will explain to you why. You don't have to agree. In fact, when I'm done with this, I'll let you come on, make your final prediction, and you can tell me with evidence that you have gathered why you think they're going a different direction. Okay? I'm not shooting down anything. I just think they're taking Kyle Hamilton. All right, let's get into it. First things first, I could be buying into all the hype of the smoke screen, right? I really could be buying into the hype of the smoke screen, and I could be getting got for the smoke screen game, right? The smoke screen game has been strong with this one, and I must admit, while it was way easier to crack the code of Bob, what the hell is the damn name? Quinn. This dude is making it real hard. I partially cracked the code last year because of certain things that he said that led me to the definition of an offensive tackle. And it made sense, but this one has been much more challenging. However, he has one flaw in his armor, and that flaw is his head coach, who don't know how to lie. Not about stuff that he should know how to lie about. And I'm going to mix that information with most of the things that I've seen happen way before draft season. And I'll explain. Okay, let me get this off the screen. Okay, boom. This article comes from January the 11th of this year. This is way before the draft thing comes up. And they were just asking some simple questions. Now, I'm going to go through and break this all down. There's a number of things that happened before then. But Holmes said this at the end of the year for his end of the year press conference. At this point, right, he says the foundation is laid. We still have some work to do, right? Which we all agree they have work to do. It says we don't overlook that, but we're excited about the next phase of process in the upcoming offseason. Everything will be better than it was this time last year. Okay, Detroit GM said free agency will be better, right? Remember, free agency will be better. And free agency has already passed at least the first, second wave. And we all know that we walked away with many of our own people, in which we fast forward to a press conference that he had at the meeting where he says, the grass ain't always greener because you go out and get outside source. It's better to keep the guys you have that are in-house. Okay, now, We already see that these two things are different from each other. However, he says that they're going to be better. It says because the club will have a little bit more resources at their disposal, he says. It says the draft will be even better because we have a little bit more capital. A little bit more capital. With the foundation in place, the Lions are reaching the fun part of their rebuild. This is going to be the player acquisition phase, Holmes says. Now it says, we'll get eyes on guys, Holmes says. The roster looks good. I know back when I was with the Rams, we were able to acquire a lot of guys that play at the Senior Bowl. Oh, shit. That was a big clue for me because it's one of the things that got me to thinking, well, let's look at who the Lions had on their roster at the Senior Bowl. And we go down and take a quick gander, as you can see right here, and we are already in the defensive backs. And I'm just going through looking at them. I just want you to take a look at some of these names that they had the pleasure of seeing up close and personal. And I want you to take a look at these people that you have to think about are at positions that we have of need. Okay. This is where it gets intriguing because I believe there's some people in here that we're going to take. Now, for the most part, many of you may say, Luke, you're reaching. Your shoulders should be exhausted. It should be falling off your damn body because you're reaching. Just because he said that don't mean nothing. Smoke screen season, yeah, but this happened directly at the end of the season where he talked about this and reminisced. Plus, looking back at his last draft, he really did go after a lot of people that from the Senior Bowl. This is not something there. There's the first piece of the puzzle. And on top of that, that's just the team that they coach. This is the team that they got to go against. So don't just think that they were just staring at their guys. No, that would be foolish. They were looking at everybody. In fact, they've been at a few of these guys' pro days. And the one thing I know about them is if I got two eyes or a good eye, damn it, they certainly got multiple eyes looking at these people and know what they're getting. But again, I'm bringing this up for a point because he brought that up as an example for a reason. I've learned with him, he doesn't say things just to say them. A lot of times he's saying them, just saying them in a way where it doesn't confirm any damn thing. Let's get back to what he talked about. So now you look at all of this, and he says, the roster looked good. I know back when I was with the Rams, we were able to acquire a lot of guys that played at the Senior Bowl and guys that had success. There's a lot of gold to be found there. Whew. All right, well, I hear you, Mr. Holmes. While many people may have forgot what you said, I have not. I have dug my damn self in, and I'm looking at it. It says, regardless of how much resources we have, we're still going to find guys that are in line with our culture. So it's about the culture, right? Okay. And truly fit what we're about, says Holmes. The guys that had chips on their shoulders and things to prove, a lot of times experience shapes people. Like I said, we're a gritty group. I'm not saying that we're looking for a one-year deal guy, but we're looking at guys that fit who we are. We'll just probably be able to get a little bit more of them. Now, he talked about this, and this comes in an interview that I just did not expect to come out, but it says right here, and going a little bit further, again, we'll have a little bit more resources to use than we did last year, but at the same time, we'll be smart with everything, he says. Hopefully the word will spread about what we're building here. I think it's evident with the culture that we have in place. I think it's evident how hard we play. I'm not sure if it is a selling point, but hopefully everybody's going to see that and the word gets out about us. We're a gritty group that plays really, really hard. We have an outstanding culture here, so hopefully that bodes well for us in free agency. Now, it's funny because he says that and they brought back a lot of their own people. But it's a logic to what he says. Those guys were fits. They fit what we're about, and those guys played well for us. So now he has not lied. He has held to his part of saying that he's going to reward people. Then it says the last stage of the player acquisition will come in the draft, where the Lions have 2 first-round picks, including the second overall pick. It says right here, this is back on January the 11th of this year. I hope it's a difference maker if it's number 2, he said, but we're still going through the process now. I don't think it is a good draft. I mean, I do think it's a good draft, though. It's a good draft at pretty much all the positions, really. I think what will be good in a good spot. So he's basically saying that all the positions that, yeah, because if you think about it, all the positions that we need, they do have. Then I went for another damn article, right? Because these are all coming in succession, and we just need to put it all together and make sense of it. He says a cluster of players we are looking at are very, very evenly rated and graded. Oh, shit. Really? Really? A cluster of players are evenly rated and graded. It's just what fits your team the best. Who's the best football player? Who may feel a need there, or who's the best fit for the future? Holmes explained when speaking to the media. Now, again, he says the best fit for the future. And many of you may jump to that this has to be the quarterback because that's the future. Now, let me just move this over here to this guy. What's it right here? Right here. This is Dan Campbell, who says, we want a guy who can come in and he's a day one starter, Campbell said. Now, this is what he's telling the official reporter for the Lions, which is Tim Twentyman of the team's website. It says, that's really what we're trying to acquire. You'd like to think by the time you hit your first game, this player is starting for you and going to be able to produce. Now, again, this is going to go against a lot of what they're saying. But what I realize is Brad Holmes will always get the groceries for what the chef is trying to make. If you ask for spaghetti, he's going to get you ingredients for fucking spaghetti. And I believe that he has put a lot of things on the table. So now he talks about this thing. He's talking about picking in the second overall slot. It isn't hard to understand how Holmes could be happy with what he's at, right? But let me get down to this quote right here. Where is he at? Oh, here you go. In terms of where the Lions are at, Holmes seems to believe the Lions have figured out what they want to do and narrowed down the players acceptable in a confident manner. In spite of that, Holmes admits that he is ready himself for anything that could happen, which he believes is very important for a team to do in order to stay nimble on the board. That boy was talking. All right. He says anything can happen any day. I would say that it's not just narrowing it down to your top 2. You better have your top 5. You better have your top 10 in place because you don't know what's going to happen each day. In other words, let's get all of the obvious parts out of the way. He wants to go after a player, and he understands that there may be trade opportunities, so he better have people that's ready to go. This is nothing new, right? But then this guy right here comes out, and he says this. He says, few people think that this would be the first of those picks. The Lions have the second overall pick, and it's difficult. Now, let me just get to the part. He says, I've been saying it all along that we are looking for a game changer at that pick. Really any pick, I've said all positions. If that position is a quarterback, then it's a quarterback. Now, this is the most important part I want y'all to understand, because this right here, if that position is a quarterback, then it's a quarterback. I had to go back to last year's articles and look, and he never once last year mentioned a damn thing about offensive tackles last year. Never talked about them. You can care less. He was like, nope. He talked about everything but that. He talked about linebackers. He talked about everything but that. And what I realized is another key to his thing is when he's revealing things in any form or fashion is because he wants us to think that's what he wants. He wants us to think that it's a quarterback, and he should, because this opens up trade opportunity. And with trade opportunity comes a better chance for you to move down, get more capital, and still get the guy you want anyway. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I have a head coach who says he wants a day one starter and a game changer. I have the general manager saying that he wants a game changer. So we got all that out the way. And I know for a fact that he said this. Let me go back up just so you can see the context of the story. Again, people, this is me doubling down. You can shoot me later, okay? So this is them again at the end of the season press conference. He ran down the strengths of the team. Brad Holmes ran down the strengths of the team, and one of his answers may surprise you. When they asked him what are the strengths of the teams, he said offensive line. He also said you could say defensive line. Now, I want you to pay attention to this because this is a very intriguing one. You could say defensive line, right? And I think this is more of an indicator to the fact that he wasn't sure if he's going to get all his guys back, but that's okay. He says you can argue that those are our strengths of our team, but we do want to improve in all the other areas. The other areas. I'm going to say it again. The other areas. Holmes says, I think our running backs did a really, really nice job. Okay. Offensive line is a gimme, right? There's no ifs, ands about it. But the defensive line is interesting. Answer for Holmes. The Lions were not great at creating pressure, 26 in pressure rate, and they were often manhandled in the run game, finishing the season with ranking 31st in Football Outsiders run defense efficiency metrics. While some of those issues bleed over to the linebacker unit, it's hard to say that the defensive line had a good year. Okay. It said perhaps though Holmes is banking on the significant improvements from the unit in 2022. They played most of the season without their top two pass rushers, Romeo Okwara, Trey Flowers, and additionally, Holmes could be expecting development and a couple of day two rookies and defensive tackle Aline McNeil and Levi Onwuzurike, both of whom got plenty of experience in their first season. All right. Okay. Now, he says we can always get better at the perimeter position on both sides of the ball, but I think it's not one position that you can kind of focus on, Holmes said, the perimeter. Now, I don't know about y'all, but perimeter tells me that's cornerback or safeties. Again, feel free to shoot me, not my words. I'm showing you what our people said. And this is shit that he said well before the offseason kicked off. Let's get that out the way. I'm eliminating the whole damn smoke conversation because I believe that 9 times out of 10, the only reason we talk about the smoke side of it is because it's easier to talk about the smoke side of it. It seems like talking about the smoke side of it makes sense, but the reality is it doesn't. They have found ways to say a whole lot and talk in circles with somehow still telling you the truth. When he talks about perimeter players, he talked about receivers. And then when you look at what they did, they went out and added DJ Chark, right? They retained Reynolds, right? They still had Amon-Ra St. Brown who performed. And before that, they was in love with Quintez Cephas and they brought back Khalif Raymond. Now, what does that got to do with anything? Let's wrap it up and get to where my evidence points to. We talk about this right here. I first thought maybe they could be talking about quarterback, but then this comes out, and when the question comes about the whole elite quarterback, Dan Campbell kills that dream. Nope, I don't think you need that, Campbell said via Dave Burkett of the Detroit Free Press. I think that those guys like that are obviously, they're special, and they certainly give you a better chance. But no, I don't believe you have to have one of those guys to sustain success. Interesting. And after this happened, they put his ass on ice. He wasn't even allowed to talk for like a week. Magically, unbeknownst, we don't know why he wasn't sick. They never said COVID. They just said he can't fucking talk. And I think that's because they told him to shut the hell up. We're trying to get a trade here and make people think that we want a quarterback. Your honesty is shitting on us. And then we get to this part where he talks about this. We're looking at every scenario because there are some guys that ultimately some might say, well, is that value worth it at 2? No, we don't care, Campbell said. All that matters is this dude going to come in and play, and is he going to help us? Is he going to be a productive player for a long time in this league for us? That's what matters for us. Let's go back to General Manager Brad Holmes' words about talking about getting, where's the guy at? He needs a game changer. Yeah. I hope it's a difference maker at 2. He talks about game changer. And let me play this. I don't want people to say these are my words. You know, I got the police on me and I can get arrested. So let me just make sure I clear this up. This is the words of Brad Holmes in one of his press conferences when they asked him a clear-cut question about offensive line, edge rushers, and quarterback being taken. I want you to pay close attention to what his response was that had nothing to do with the question.
Number 2, like the history has always been quarterbacks, edge rushers, pass rushers, whatever it is, offensive linemen. Why has that always been the case in the NFL? Do you think? Why are those positions
I mean, those are premium positions. I mean, they can they can really lay the foundation of your team's success.
Now, I want you to take a second to think about that. Those are premium positions that can really lay the foundation of your team's success, is what they said, right? That's what he said in the first part of it. Not my words, Brad Holmes. So to all you so-called fact checkers, have fun at it, right? Stay with me though, right? Let me get over here. Where is it at? Gotta find it, man. This stuff's all over the place. I have been reading way too much stuff. All right, here we go. Let me get back up here. Oh, wait, I was in the wrong article. I was over right here. He says those are the people who set the foundation. But when Brad Holmes talked about foundation, he felt pretty good about the foundation that we had. Right here. At this point, Holmes said Tuesday, the foundation is laid. Well, I'll be damned. So let's get this straight. Quarterback, offensive tackles and offensive linemen, and edge rushers are people who can lay the foundation. And according to him, the foundation has already been laid. According to him, our strengths are the offense and defensive line. This is according to the general manager. But that's not what the question was about. Let's finish letting them talk.
I truly believe that. Now, you know, there's other game changers at other positions.
I love how he kind of detoured off to the side and said there's other game changers at other positions. You don't say. Really? That's interesting. I wonder why did you feel the need to put that out there? I wonder why Dan Campbell felt the need to tell us that they don't give a shit about positional value. I wonder why you felt the need to talk about you looking at production and do they fit you and going to be here for long times. I'm just curious how y'all can just be so on the page, but yet both trying to lie. Now, I don't know about y'all, but in my history, when people try to lie, damn it, rarely do I see two people. Do I ever see two people lie and have the same damn lie? Somebody generally messes this up when it's more than two people involved. And I'm under the belief that that person who's effing it up is Dan Campbell because he don't know how to lie. Now, I'll finish letting Brad Holmes explain to you his part, and then I'll give you the rest of my breakdown on my double down, and then I'll let y'all take me to the task and tell me what y'all think. But he talks about the foundation being these guys, and he already think we got a foundation, and that was well before he got to this question. And if he thinks we already have a foundation, which means he believes in his quarterback and he believes in his offensive line and he believes in his edge rushers, we're getting closer to another idea of what they're thinking. Now, let's let Brad Holmes talk.
That you can find outside of
Pass rushers, whatever it is, offensive linemen. Why is that always been the case in the NFL? Do you think? Why are those positions?
I mean, those are premium positions. I mean, they can they can really lay the foundation of your team's success. I truly believe that. Now, you know, there's other game changers at other positions that you can find outside of those positions. But you know, obviously, when you want to when you want to have a quarterback that can lead your football team, but you really have to have a guy that can protect your quarterback. And then at the end of the day, you want to have a guy that can get after your quarterback too. You know what I mean? So I mean, that's why I think that they're all like what you call them premium positions. You know, so but I do think that there's other positions that you know you can find some game changers out there.
So he explains why he think there are premium positions, but he do think there are other people you can take at other positions. Now it got me to thinking. And it's simply put, let's do the process of elimination, people. Let's simply go and look at the facts, okay? Here's our current quarterbacks, and I can tell you right now that the fact that they got these two backups dirt cheap, they're not looking to budge on these two dirt cheap-ass quarterbacks. And while many of you, like me, believe that Tim Boyles is not the answer, and some of y'all hate David Blau, that's cool. They seem to be okay with that. They seem to be just fine with it. I find it even more interesting that Steven Montez is still on the team as well. But again, that's not the point. So let's go through and look at what the team needs are. At receiver, we already know that they added DJ Chark to be a deep threat and somewhat kind of take the top off for the defense to kind of help out. And we know that they brought back Khalif Raymond, Josh Reynolds, and that tells me that they're probably not looking too big at going receiver too high. So this is all about number two. Receiver is out the window. Based on what the fact that they said about the foundation being set, and the way he completely dodged the question about those guys in terms of the offensive line, and the fact that they drafted Penei Sewell, tossed offensive line off the board too. Let's go to quarterback. They got two quarterbacks who are dirt cheap and another quarterback who's on contract this year and next year. And we know for the very least that they have 2 first-round picks going into next year with a quarterback that they somehow are in love with. And I believe that they are not taking a quarterback because of what they said. They need a game changer and someone who can start day one. That now tosses away the quarterback position. Whew. All right. So now we're completely off the offensive side of the ball. Let's go down to the other side of the ball. They talked about getting perimeter players. So that now means that cornerback at 2 and safety are still in play. And they talked about the foundation being good at the D line. And this is where it gets a little shaky. This is where it gets a little confusing because I think that they were setting this up. They talked about the D line being part of the foundation that was really good. Now, let's get on down here, people, because they did bring some people back. Okay. Now, where is he at? Where the hell is he at? Right here. Now, I find it ironic that they got my man Michael Brocker still at the end. Cool. And we already know that some of these dudes are going to probably get the hell up out of here. Hector probably practice squad. Jason going to probably be a practice squad. Levi is listed as a DN. Okay. Which I believe Levi is the replacement for Michael Brockers. Okay. And then the Lee McNeil's obviously here and John Pennicini. So many of you may say, well, Luke, they need a damn D tackle. But at 2, according to them, they got everybody evenly graded. It's about fit and who can get them an impact player and a game changer. And there is not a damn D tackle worthy of the 2nd overall pick that's a game changer. And guess what? That man right there, Levi Onwuzurike, can play both D tackle as well as Michael Brockers, which is why they still have depth in people like Eric Banks as an edge rusher and Ja'Shawn Cornell. That to me eliminates any Jordan Davis talk. Boom. Let's get to the next one. So now we start to talk about the linebacker spot. And this is where we really get into it because in my opinion, I want to talk. Well, let me go back. Let's go back to the edge rushers. So we already know that they got certain people, right? And, they feel good about certain people. You got Derek Barnes at linebacker. You feel good about that guy. They like Austin Bryant. You feel good about that guy. They brought back Ellis Anzalone. You feel good about that guy. Not me. This is them. Not me. Them. They're saying these things because they brought him back. Jerry Davis is back in the fold. Deion Hamilton's in the fold. Charles Harris. And they really like Jesse. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but I found a number of articles from about this damn man right here, Jesse Laminaire. And they still got Julian Ocore. So let's look at our current edge rushers. 1, 2, 3. And whether you like it or not, you still got Romeo. That's 4. And then Austin Bryant, where the hell is he at? That's 5. And then you want to, depends on how you want to count Derek Barnes, which I'll leave him out. That's still 5 people, right? Now, all of y'all may look at this and say, this is a hogwash, but stay with me. Now we're talking about the 2nd overall pick. And there isn't a linebacker on the same level as a Michael Parsons, which tells me that if there isn't a linebacker on Michael Parsons' level, then there's no linebacker being taken 2nd overall. Toss him out. We are now left with defensive backs as the 2 picks, cornerback or safety. But then something happened. I remember something. And I read articles and I said, damn, they brought in Mike Hughes. Okay. Okay. And damn, last year they drafted Iffy. Yeah, they did. They did that. And Amani, well, he played well. So we know Amani is good to go. But they got 2 guys who's undrafted free agents in Jerry Jacobs and AJ Parker, who they believe in. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 corners they feel good about. Jeff Okudah is going to be given a chance to show that he's still a player and redeem himself, and they're not willing to give up on him just yet. So that's 5. And then you're going on up here to Mike Hughes, who they brought in, who gives you 6. And then you can just sprinkle in the rest of these other guys as just candy. They like Bobby Price, but you know how this thing works. They like it. And this right here is where I start to wonder, have they completely ruled out Sauce Gardner, a guy who, much like Aiden Hutchinson, is really from Detroit? I mean, he's really from Detroit. Played at Detroit King High School, is really from here, right? This is where he grew up at. This is not no thing. Not from Michigan, from Detroit. And now I see this and I go, I think they feel pretty good about their cornerback position. But let's talk about that goddamn safety. Now, many of you are going to sit there and say, well, we got Tracy Walker. Fair. And you're going to say, well, we added Deshaun Elliott. Fair. Okay. And the backups, let's say if it was Deshaun Elliott and Tracy Walker, your backups is who? Brady Breeze, Will Harris, Juju Hughes, CJ Moore. Huh. Funny. If you were to look at this right now, this whole entire little group, would you feel good about this as your safety core? Probably not. And so for that reason, I believe the fact that they drafted Iffy, the fact that they brought in Hughes, the fact that they literally found a way to just flat out be like, you know what? I like the foundation on the D line. I think that eliminates a lot of people, and the fact that they have everybody graded evenly, which tells me that they don't feel like there's no standout player in this draft. They just want somebody who can help them win now and do what they're doing. And what that tells me is they're going to go Kyle Hamilton. Now, at this point, y'all can shit on me. I don't care. I'm giving you my evidence and proof as to why I think this. All right. And I'm going to give you a chance to come in here and tell me that. I'm going to give you a chance to jump in. You got a few minutes to tell me I have lost my mind. You agree or disagree, or tell me who it is. Then I'm going to give you an opportunity for you to then turn around and tell me who is your final pick for it. Okay. So the link is in the description. All right. All you got to do is jump in. I'll give you a few minutes to chat it up and tell me why I have lost my shit. And the first person who I knew was on standby, like Darth Vader, waiting to slash down a bunch of freaking rebellions. Here he is my man Drew. Drew, what up, though?
Hey, everybody. I still don't feel comfortable saying what up, though, but
it's okay. We're gonna get you used to it. It's a greeting that guaranteed let people know where the hell you from. You can go anywhere and say the word "what up," though, and they will know you from Michigan. I promise that.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know.
Go ahead. I lost
your reasoning. Your reasoning seems I can follow your reasoning.
What? Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Wait. What did you just say?
I mean, this has been my stance. I mean, like much how you say that if they don't go this route, like you'll be like, I'll be all right with it. I don't care, or what,
Right?
What
yeah, I'm good as long as they starters. I'm
like,
good.
When you say that, my response is like, I understand your reasoning. I see how you can get there. So even though you desperately want Kyle Hamilton to be the number two,
no, make no mistake. I don't care if they take Kyle Hamilton or not.
Well,
the thing is not do you take Kyle Hamilton? It's the little pieces of evidence that I think stand out to me. And one of the biggest things was this. Mm-hmm. When I look at the people that they have, right? And another part that I left out was that in the Den episode, they had a conversation where it was Brad Holmes, Chris Spielman, Aaron Glenn, Dan Campbell.
Yep.
And all right. And in that conversation, this is exactly how the conversation went. It says, I gotta go back down one. All right, here we go.
Yeah, no Ravens cap today. Yeah.
Aaron Glenn says, like, what can we count on? And he says, if we draft you, what can we count on? This is a question he's asking someone that need to be answered. And then he says, and Campbell goes, or what are you going to do? And then he says, aka Aaron Glenn says, what's the best thing you do? Right? Like, what do you do that's the best thing that you do? And when you look at most of these other players, if you say, well, Aiden Hudson, what's the best thing you do? I get you the quarterback. Is that really the best thing you do, though? Really?
Well, I mean, that's the question. I mean,
now keep in mind, John Dorsey's in the room too, and so is Wash. And Wash says, but he plays his ass off. And Glenn responds is, this dude like intrigues me as a pass rusher. Mm-hmm. He says this to Chris Spielman and the whole coach staff. This dude intrigues me as a pass rusher. And Wash says, then you go to the other games and you go. And then Aaron Glenn responds, very little power. I believe that they were talking about the guy that was on their roster, and that man name from the Senior Bowl is right. Mm-hmm. Where the hell? Did I pass it already?
Maybe.
There. I believe it was Jermaine Johnson, because when I watch his tape, I think the same thing. God, this dude, like, he can get it done. And then be like, where's the power? I think they were talking about this dude. This is who I think they was talking about. Mm-hmm. And then Glenn says, I'm interested to see what his dominant trait is.
Yeah.
Like, what do he do best? And
I
he
think it
says,
was
man,
probably playing the ACC, wasn't it?
I mean, I'm just saying. He says, man, some of his pass rush skills, his bend and all that, unfreaking believable. And Campbell says, well, we need football players, man. And Spielman says he's a football player. Campbell says smart. You know, that's what we're looking for. It has to happen. We need a smart player. And Glenn says he had the finest position I've seen so far. Well, how in the hell you seen anything? Because at this point, you just got to the combine and ain't nothing happened. But you certainly seen these dudes. Just saying.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
So I'll tell you what I believe.
Go ahead.
I suppose, right?
Yep.
So I believe that the points that you've highlighted in your opening today indicate a front office that, number one, like you alluded to, doesn't want to let their plans slide. They don't want to have something leak out. They don't want other teams to know what they're about, right? So I think they've done a pretty good job of that. I don't think that they've committed to anybody. I think that they really do have a list of 5 or 10 players.
Oh wow!
That they might be willing to go to, that kind of thing. And so I don't know about. I'm certain they've got them ranked, but I don't know about narrowed down to. I think that Brad Holmes is too savvy of a front office man in order to say, you know, we've got only 3 players available that we can take it to, and we're gonna pigeonhole ourselves into that. So I think that the availability of players to the Lions is much broader than we think it is at 2 overall. I'm prepared to be surprised. This
I'm not. I think it's down to 2 people: Sauce Gardner, Kyle Hamilton.
I think it's way more people than that.
I think it's down to those 2 people, and the only reason I think that be the case is because of some of the things that they already said. But sure. I want to put it out there. Mr. Micro Mike is in the building. And first of all, before you get to talking, Mike, let me say this. First black man on the net says, Luke, you taking your takes off of Inside the Den? I took my takes from every freaking source of information, media-wise, that I can find. My ass was digging from last year's news reports all the way up until current. And I can tell you that there are patterns that have presented themselves that I must acknowledge. Mike, what do you have for the people?
The Lions will be taking Kayvon Thibodeau or Aiden Hutchinson at 2. That's what I believe 100%.
That's your final.
I think Trayvon Walker. Yeah, well, the thing is, what's frustrating me is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know.
Thank you. Right.
These guys are nuts. I think they could actually take Trayvon Walker at 1, and if they do, man, that's great. That's great because I don't want him near Detroit. But I think they're going to take one of those 2. Or trade out. I would love to trade out. I don't know how possible it's going to be. But, yeah, I think it's Kayvon Thibodeau or Aiden Hutchinson. Right now, if you look at the amount of money towards the cap, we're $5.5 million less than we generally do with the edge position. More money goes towards the higher in the draft spot. They really covet Kayvon Thibodeau. I've been saying this since week 4. Brad Holmes at Oregon Pro Day when the Lions were facing the Rams sends 7 scouts himself to the Oregon Duck. He loves the Ducks, and I thought he'd be the pick for sure because I thought Hutch would go 1. But now, if they decide to go crazy, that could change with Aiden Hutchinson if he fell to 2.
I don't think you're crazy. I don't think you said nothing outrageous, and I don't think that's nuts. It's just funny how he believed that the foundation was already set at defensive line and offensive line. And I find it intriguing how he talked about the grass not always being greener on the other side. You could be right, and I don't completely eliminate the DN position. However, he talked about the good play he got from a lot of his own guys. And when I was watching games, they are right. We were missing some people that affected our pass rush. But I don't think you're wrong. I think you're very possible. And that's why I'm doing this show, particularly today, to make my case for what I think is going on and to give everybody a chance, you know, to make their case. And for you to notice the money side of it, because that's what I always tell people, follow the money, you get answers. follow the money. Let me get my next person in there, William Birch. I don't know how much time you got, Mike, to hold on. I just want to give everybody a chance to get their thoughts in. William, what are your thoughts on me? Have I lost my mind completely? You think I'm full of shit? Or do you know, who do you think? What's your final thought? This is your chance to put that prediction out there.
I mean, you know how Luke goes. He follows the breadcrumbs all the way to the gingerbread house.
Put the goddamn hat back on. I love it. But go ahead, William.
I don't know, man. There's something in my gut saying a linebacker at 2 is just not the pick.
Nope.
There's no linebacker worth 2. Like that's
why you eliminate it.
No. That's what Luke was saying.
Yeah,
Getting
like
Kyle Hamilton.
So you think Kyle Hamilton's a linebacker?
I bit the bullet. I completely believe he's a linebacker.
Man, I need some of that smoke, dog, that you taking, bro.
Because remember, everyone said Isaiah Simmons, the most versatile safety in the draft. Where is he playing right now? He's playing.
But hold on, wait. In all fairness, Simmons is a different case that you can't count on, because if you look at what the Cardinals have done, they have done this weird shit for years. They did it with Deion Buchanan. They did it with a host of everybody. I mean, they do this all the time.
They're weird.
And their defense, they have a ton of playmakers on that defense.
Exactly.
I mean, they literally draft linebacker, it seems like, every year. And so it's a little different story over there.
Yeah,
not in the way that William is referencing it. He's saying that he came out as a safety and they play him at linebacker.
Well, when he came out, they always had him rated as a linebacker because they wanted him to be closer to the line of scrimmage.
Well,
I said that had the Lions took him, he'd have been our strong safety, but that's just me.
Yeah, people had him as a safety as well, but they ended up having him as a linebacker. But to me, with Kyle Hamilton, he's just too gangly. He doesn't cut directions fast enough in order for me to feel comfortable with him at safety. That's just me personally. And I think he would be beautiful in the box. Using his smarts and instincts in stopping the run first and foremost.
He just does not get off of blocks to be a linebacker for me.
Yeah.
Now,
Fred Warner doesn't even get touched. Right?
Warner. I've watched Fred Warner get off some damn blocks.
But Fred Warner, for the most part, when I'm watching his film, studying up, he barely gets touched going downhill. Like when he gets touched, it is not the best block shedding in the world. But the way he maneuvers and the way the line in front of him plays enables him to just be an animal.
Okay. I'm not killing you. First Black Man on the Net says, question for the future. Where the hell is our quarterback for the future in next year's draft? And maybe in the later round of this draft, maybe Bailey Zappi is a target for them. I just
don't want no quarterback named Bailey Zappi, dog.
I'm just saying, listen, I don't want to kill the guy's name. I'm just saying, it's either he's the next
I will.
Draft.
I'm thinking it's gonna be that.
He said I will.
What's his name?
I'm just saying, I think that's where you will see your quarterback of the future. Let me give everybody a shot. I am Salty, who was in there looking like, what the hell? He was next up. What do you have for me today? You think I done lost my damn mind?
Can y'all hear me, man?
I can hear you.
All right. I just want to put out there, we're all free to have our own opinion, right?
Fact.
You can want whoever you want, right, for the Lions, but
he is setting up
when you're building a team and you have Jared Goff gonna make over $30 million and he got us 3 wins last year. 3. Okay, I don't care. I don't care if he's hurt.
Don't say it.
Listen, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it.
Don't say it.
Don't you dare.
When you say
I'm gonna say it.
Swear to God,
don't do it. My respect's on the line.
If we're not,
I like Willis, dog.
Or Thibodeau.
No, stop it.
If we're not taking Willis or Thibodeau, number 2, I'm disappointed.
You're gonna be disappointed.
That's where I'm at.
You are so. I'm so sorry.
Listen, here's my. Listen, let me get this out, okay?
Go ahead.
Everyone loves Hamilton, right? Everyone loves Hamilton. No. Who did they play? He had a pick against Florida State that looked great. Who was the quarterback? Can you name him? I can't. He ain't
Okay.
no good.
In
He
fairness,
didn't play not one quarterback that is going to be NFL ready and going to come out and be a good quarterback. But yet he's the second coming god of safety.
Okay,
right?
Salty, in fairness, again, I'll say this again. In fairness, who in the fuck did Liberty play? We're talking about Notre Dame.
He got blown up by Ole
But
Miss.
that's a knock on Willis, right?
I watched
Yes.
Liberty games though
But
this last year, and I'm gonna talk about Willis real quick. There's one thing that I noticed big time about Liberty is their offensive line may have been the worst offensive line I've ever seen in my entire life. Willis had like 1 second in the pocket before he was getting smacked. I watched that Ole Miss Liberty game live, and I said, "This poor son of a bitch has no chance in hell right now." So just FYI, just putting it out there.
I actually did a whole breakdown on that. He got sacked 9 times. So mind you, this is on 25.
It was horrible.
This is on 25 completed passes. 9 sacks, about 13 separate pressures, and then a pick where a wide receiver had it in his hands and literally let it get stolen out of it. There was one egregious pick and then one hero ball with like 2 minutes left.
Okay, now listen.
Says.
I hear everything y'all saying, and I'm not even saying y'all wrong. What I'm saying is this: too often that we can talk about those games. One of the things that made me love Matthew Stafford was he got his ass handed to him too without an offensive line. And you know what? He always got up and made a better play after the fact. Even when shit wasn't going well, he still performed under that pressure and would take hits and do things. And I can tell you, even watching that Ole Miss game, because I had to go back and watch that game because I was like, was it really that bad? And after watching the video from the QB school, shout out to my man JT O'Sullivan, former Detroit Lion, who has the QB school on YouTube, I noticed the same thing JT noticed, which is a quarterback who don't do anticipated throws, a quarterback who runs while people are open, and a quarterback who doesn't trust his arm to throw the ball to people who are wide open, and a quarterback who, after you hit him a few times, will make some bad passes. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that y'all wrong. I'm just going to tell you this. The Lions are not the team to groom Malik Willis. Maybe it's the damn Seattle Seahawks. Maybe it's the Buccaneers. It's anybody but the Lions.
I think the Saints would be good.
I don't think they're going quarterback right there. I'm saying that right now. But we got to be this dude. Like, yeah, Matthew Stafford had a bad offensive line, but if it's like literally having Dominic Raiola of every single player on Liberty team with one leg, that's how poor their offensive line was. It was trash. It was absolute trash.
But I have seen Malik Willis run into defenders too. I've seen that man make some poor decisions, and he relies on his legs way too much.
And I'm only bringing that up because Salty brought up the idea that Kyle Hamilton and the Notre Dame did not play anybody, and I'm like, well, Liberty didn't play nobody, so that's all I'm saying. But I get it.
I think when it comes to Willis, I think he could. It's going to be one of two things with him, man. He's either going to be an absolute bust or he's going to be a playmaker. You just don't know. Don't really know. I just don't think the Lions are going that route. You know, if they just, I just don't. I just don't think. I think they're going to go with the edge rusher. I think what they could do,
guys, Drew's
what they could do is get another first round pick for next year, and maybe have the capital to trade up. That's what I think they're probably going to do.
And that's what I think they should do, because I think that makes the most sense. I think the first thing that they want to do is the first thing we all want them to do, which is to trade that pick and get capital. But if they're stuck, not my words, this is the general manager word. He said we're good about who we can take at 2 and be okay with it. We don't care. And given what they said, it just makes sense. So I'm not saying he's wrong, but first black man on the net says, "Yep, Luke sounds like Josh Allen." I don't see nothing of Josh Allen and Malik Willis. I just don't.
Yeah, because he had a better completion percentage.
I don't even know where that whole comparison come.
I just say we should just hold out grades for these quarterbacks until about 3 years, because you just never know, man. You never know if a quarterback's going to be really good or really bad.
I think our team fell in love with him, guys. I think they did. If you go back and you look down the line, We had him at the Senior Bowl. We didn't put him out there starting the game. We didn't want anybody else to fall in love with him, right? We didn't want anybody else to see his potential because we didn't want nobody to trade up to number 1 to take him before we do it too. I'm just letting you guys know. You can say what you want about him, and he's a bad prospect, and he's raw.
I'm not killing you.
You can have your opinion.
I'm just letting you know. I think that Brad Holmes and them guys, they love him, man. Did you see? Here's one note that I really, really love, and it's completely not even on the field, right? It is, but it isn't. Okay, did you see how his team loved him? Did you see how much energy he brought to the building? Have you ever seen Jared Goff run down the field and congratulate his receivers and bring that energy to play with him? No, I didn't see none of it.
Go hire a cheerleader for that.
Well, it's not a cheerleader. It's about getting a quarterback as a leadership role, right? You're not taking a guy that's going to go sit on the pine like Jake Cutler and not have any emotional nothing towards the game, right? You want a guy that's going to hype everyone up, and you can play with your full potential with that, right? That's how
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question, Salty? And this is not me questioning you. This is me just putting it out there. If they were really taking a quarterback, why is he talking about the quarterback position so much? In the previous draft, he didn't say shit about the offensive line position. He talked about linebackers a lot.
Right.
He talked about receivers a lot.
This how I look at it. You can't believe anything general managers and coaches say the last 3 weeks before the draft, man. You just can't.
No.
Right?
No. He didn't
it's all
say
smoke
that.
screen.
No. He didn't say about last year. I can show you the articles. Last year, he never talked about the offensive line. He never said a thing with the offensive line.
Right.
He dodged those questions.
I know what you're
like
saying.
You're
saying. You're saying, like, why would he show attention to a position if he's gonna go with that pick? That's what you're saying, correct?
Right.
You're saying, like, why would he entertain the question, right? And my thing with that is, it's plain to see that we love him, dude. It's plain to see it. They tried to hide it. Let me tell you how they tried to hide it, okay? They didn't even go to his pro day. They didn't even show up. You know why? Because we've seen enough of what we need to see from him, right? We had him for 3 weeks at the Senior Bowl. We coached him. Mark Brunell taught him for 3 weeks.
Hey, you want to know what's really good, man? We're going to find out in a couple days.
I know. And you know what's funny about it, though?
I can't wait till Thursday, y'all.
It's been harder.
Yeah, I know.
It's been harder to crack Brad Holmes than it was. Bob Quinn, I had him figured out at the 1 year.
Oh, yeah. Bob was simple.
Bob Quinn, like the Big Ten and SEC players in the first round. That was his thing. This dude has thrown a curveball. Now, shout out to Dr. Detroit, who says, Luke, Sewell dropped to us surprisingly. You act like he was stalking Sewell. Yeah, he was stalking him so enough that he's going to actually trade up for him. He's actually going to trade up for him. In fact, he even said that had Sewell been taken, they was prepared to take somebody at the same position as Sewell. Not my words, his words.
Slater.
He was Slater. He was stalking the offensive line position, and he did not talk about those positions. So I'm not making this up to just be like this. I'm telling you what the man said himself. Now, we got 122 in the building. Can I please get them likes up? I appreciate y'all all being here. Now, the only person who I ain't gave a shot yet to speak, or two people, Crimson Shadow. You go first, sir. Tell us what you think. Give us your final prediction on who they taking, and we can talk about it.
Okay. Well, if Hutch doesn't fall to us, which I think if Hutch falls, I don't think Brad Holmes is betting on that because, let's be fair, it's Jacksonville and it's looking pretty obvious. Though they could go Neal, or I had one mock draft where they picked Sauce Gardner, which was the funniest mock draft I had all day. Not going to happen. But if we don't get Hutch, I see Hamilton more because I think Kayvon Thibodeaux has just been nothing but a smokescreen. And the fact that rumor leaked out that Dan wasn't a fan of Kayvon, there might be truth to that.
I think it's truth to it as well.
Exactly. I think it's just one huge smokescreen, if you ask me. I know, to me, it's like the way I look at it. Most drafts, I would typically go positional value here. I would, but none of these guys are really top 10, and really Hutch would be a settle move. And I hate the idea of settling on Kayvon. So Kyle's best player available. I would normally go for an edge, but I don't see any of these edges worth the damn taking it too. unless we're talking maybe trading back for Kaloftis, but who's wanting to trade up with us for Malik, who's probably easily going to fall anyways?
Plus, just to kind of add on to what you were talking about, I think the fact that they did have an opportunity to sit and watch these particular D linemen perform is very freaking telling. This is one of the guys that I'm like, yo, I know they like him. Ridgeway, I know they like Ridgeway. I know they like Jermaine Johnson. I know that. They got a chance to see the other D lineman, Wyatt, right?
Yeah.
They've seen a lot of these
They've seen what they need to know. And the thing, here's my other thing. If you're a bust, you're a bust. I don't care what your position is. I just need a guy to perform. I don't give a dang if you're drafting me freaking punter. I need you to freaking perform. If everybody is crap, I need best player at this position. And if Kayvon, which nobody in this room, hardly anybody here agrees that Kayvon is like the guy, just taking him is just, and don't even start with Trayvon Walker. That's a no-show. So, again, you want to pick a guy that's available and is actually going to actually be a star or worth a damn.
Well,
it doesn't look it.
Well, let me first thanks Mike for coming through, putting in his final thought. He believes it's going to be a DN, whether that is Kayvon or Hutchinson, and I don't think that's a crazy thing. I just think it's coming down to Sauce Gardner or it's coming down to Kyle Hamilton. It's too many things they don't say it that leads me down that road. Let me get into Gunner. Gunner, what are your thoughts about this? Whether you agree with me, disagree with me, and give me your final prediction, because I want you guys in there as well. And in the chat, I want to know who are you predicting? Put in your final predictions, or get your mind ready, because I'm finna ask you and get it done.
Man, if we take a punter or two, he better be hitting at the quarter yard line every time without fail. Even if it's a 2-yard line, he gonna get cut. Taking him second overall. But
He'll be a Hall of Famer, I swear.
What's going on with Jacksonville right now? There's so much turmoil, kind of like with Patricia and Quinn last year, where it's like the owner wants Hutchinson, the coach wants Ikemakwanu, and the GM wants Trayvon Walker. Who the fuck knows what's going to happen there?
Rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors to see what happens. A 3-way rock, paper, scissors. Makes me sick. Final prediction. I think if we trade down, I think they're going to take Devin Lloyd. If we stay at 2, I think it's going to be Hamilton or KT.
Okay, I don't kill it. First black man on the net says, "Bro, we need to get off of number 2. Let's talk about the other spots. This fan base sounds like losers. There's a whole draft in front of us with Holmes. Here's the problem: number 1 dictates number 2, and number 3, and number 4, and so forth and so on. And to me, I think it's disingenuous to just sit there and say, "Hey, let's skip over 2 and talk about picks 32 and 34." Well, picks 32 and 34 are going to be dictated by pick 2. And whether we want to admit that or not, or we want to acknowledge it or not, that is the reality. I can easily go down there and give you speculation on that. But the one thing we don't know is, which is in most years, we always know who was the first and second pick for the most part. And in this case, it's not clear cut. And whoever they take at first, because the same way that we're looking at this thing a little bit different, if the Jacksonville Jaguars do decide to take Trayvon Walker, whereas we never thought that Aiden Hutchinson would fall to us at 2, that changes a lot of boards. And if they take Aiden Hutchinson at 2, that changes what they do at 32. Now, if they come out and they take, say, Kyle Hamilton at 2, and then they come back, take him at 2, and then they come back in 32, and they may decide, well, we got our safety, let's go this route. That does change the outcome. So, yes, does it sound like a loser's mentality? No. People who believe in tanking is a loser's mentality. People who believe
that's not true.
That's 100% a loser.
No, it's not true.
Listen.
Have you seen Mike
Valenti? Hold on. Wait a minute.
Sorry,
Hold on.
Drew.
Name me the team.
Sorry.
Hold on. Name me the team. Okay, that's tanked in the NFL and won anything. I'll wait.
Oh, okay.
Nobody.
So let me ask you this then, Luke. If
Nobody.
that's the case, why don't you name me the team that took a safety at 2 and won anything? Because I haven't seen that either.
Then who are you taking?
Hold on.
I'm taking an edge rusher regardless.
Well, hold on, wait.
One that's gonna bust like Nick Fairley.
Wait, hold on, wait. Can we have the conversation? Okay.
Well, no, you didn't.
No.
Tell me a team that's gonna tank.
Drew, we having the conversation. I'm telling Crimson. Let me and you have a conversation. So you asked me, name me the team that takes a safety at 2-on-1 anything. And the thing that I want you to understand is this: is in most times you have a disagreement or a debate or any type of conversation. If a person answers your question with a question, you generally lose the debate because you never answered my question. Right.
So here's the thing about tanking, right?
Right. Go ahead.
So here's the thing about tanking. Like when people hear tanking, they think we're intentionally trying to lose, and that's never the case.
Mm-hmm.
That's never the case in any professional sport, because whether you're the coach or a player, if you're out there intentionally trying to lose, that's your career. So like tanking is a front office tactic that front offices use to put teams in suboptimal positions to try and win. They're not out there trying to intentionally lose. And listen, if you're not going to make the playoffs, there's no incentive to win. Because the only way that you can get better is to improve the resources that you have, and the resources that you have, that the only ones that are in your control, are where you finish and what your draft picks become. Like if the Rams had lost in the first round of the playoffs, we'd have the Arizona Cardinals pick right now, and that would be better than having the 32nd pick.
But that okay. Again, I'm not knocking what you're saying. But the reason tanking is a loser's mentality is because I don't know about you, but the player in me don't ever want to lose a damn game. The fan in me don't ever want to see my team lose a game. And if I cannot see my team lose a game, I guarantee you will never hear a Patriots fan say, let's tank for anything. They don't talk like that. They want to win.
Because they came off of 20 years of winning.
Listen to what I'm saying, though, Drew. When you was talking, I didn't say nothing because I wanted to hear what you were saying and take it all in. I'm pointing out to you that winning organizations don't talk about tanking. Losing organizations talk about tanking. And when you see them doing this, it don't always necessarily yield anything. Now, if you say tanking basketball, that makes sense. Because if you're tanking in basketball, you're trying to give yourself more lottery picks. But again, I don't ever want to see my team lose, so I'm never talking about tanking. But where it's the NFL, where the first overall pick can be a bust and pick number 277 can be a star, it's not like you're tanking for anything. Tanking is a loser's mentality.
Oh my God, this is so difficult to sit here and listen to. I mean, like, Crimson just said, like, why would you take an edge? Because they're going to bust, right? Because he doesn't feel that there's an edge rusher at 2 that you can tank that's going to be worth quote unquote the number 2 overall pick. Well, in this draft, when we don't have high-end elite talent at the best positions that are consensus players, like there was a Trevor Lawrence or there is a Joey Bosa, like there are players that some team is simply going to have to draft somebody at 2. So the question is not whether or not quote unquote whatever player is worth taking at 2, because they're not Joey Bosa and they're not Trevor Lawrence or whomever else was taken there in a recent draft. The question is, how can you maximize the value of the player that you are going to be selecting at number 2? That's the only thing that matters. And you've just talked about like how tanking is a losing team's mentality. Well, guess what? Detroit just spent the last, I don't know, my lifetime as a terrible team whose best years.
But they wasn't tanking though. They just got their ass.
They should have then, because
they wasn't tanking. They just got their ass.
Okay, it's my turn though. So what I saw them do for years was take and squander like Hall of Fame talent, because they couldn't put a complete team together, because they don't have any idea of what it means to draft for value. So when I hear Brad Holmes or Dan Campbell say, hey, we don't believe in positional value, I hear, oh, cool. We're going to be continuing. It's just new people doing the same exact stuff that they've done for the last, I don't know how many decades now. So go let them take a safety at 2 then. And we'll get to 8 wins again and then never be able to get over the hump. And we'll lose in the first round of the playoffs on the road.
Okay, great. So here's what I want to say. Tanking is trash. Drew, you got to understand that this is coming from somebody who wants to become a career coach and is currently working towards a mentality. If I ever heard, think about this. Do you want, as a grown-ass man in an organization, to hear, hey, guys, we're going to suck. We're going to waste years on your valuable contract and short-lived playing career. But this 21-year-old next year will save our franchise. Do you think any of those motherfuckers are going to give a shit about this team?
I think they re-signed a bunch of those people in this offseason. I think that the moves that you've seen Dan Campbell make in free agency represent that exact mentality, which is that you're bringing back quote unquote your players, which apparently just means working hard and playing hard, which I don't know why that is special.
I have something to say.
Hold on, Crimson.
So like they bring back Josh Reynolds, Khalif Raymond, dudes who are struggling to make rosters on almost any other team in the NFL, to 1 or 2 year low value contracts. Mm-hmm. They're signing here because they're getting those deals. Like whether or not the front office has set them up to have another handful of wins next season, they're still making $1 million. So yeah, you're right. I assume that like the people who are, you don't want to waste like the quote unquote prime years of their NFL career may not want to come to Detroit. There's always going to be these, stocking stuffer roster filler kind of guys that the Lions have chalked their roster full of for cheap contracts. And then you hear about building through the draft, and you're right. Like Crimson's right. He had a point earlier where it's like you bust on a lot of players, right? If the Lions come out of this class with 3 starters, that's a win.
But this okay.
Like,
hold on one second. Hold on one second, William. Hold on one second, William. The original conversation was, and all I said was, and I really believe this, not because I'm attacking anyone, but because I believe that tanking is a loser's mentality. And to me, there's no evidence in football that would suggest or show that tanking helps a team do anything. And then you asked me the question about who takes a safety 2 and done anything. Well, there have been plenty of people who have taken a safety at 2. We're not gonna say 2, but at 3. The Lions took Benny Blades at 3. They originally had the 2nd overall pick, and they traded that to do that. And they still, after 2 years of putting things around it, got to an NFC Championship game with a non-elite quarterback and a bunch of other scraggly pieces. But it's not just there. You can go and look at other teams who've done this same trend where they've taken that safety and they've had some success there. However, Dr. Detroit says, Luke, you are not a player. You are silly with this mentality. Once a player, always a player. I may not play anymore, but I still think and move and look at the game from a player's perspective. And that's just how it is. The same way how people who are soldiers, just because they're no longer actively duty does not make them no longer a soldier. They are still a soldier. So, I don't know if I agree with the idea that you're not a player no more. Steve-O says, what about the owner offering coaches $100,000 to lose games? Yeah, and that's why he's about to lose his team.
The Dolphins.
And just hold on, Chris. Yeah. Just hold on. And that's why he's about to lose. That's why he's about to lose his team, and that's why that coach who refused to do that got let go, because he was refusing to follow that order. Because
if Dan Allen didn't lose his team, there's no way that the Miami Dolphins owner is going to lose his.
If they find out that he offered that money, he done so.
No,
not like me.
No.
Okay. All right. But again, we're getting off topic. Tanking is a losing mentality. Whether you agree or disagree, that's your personal preference. I ain't hurting nobody with that view. If you believe that it's not, that's cool. The history tells me otherwise. I ain't seen a team yet tank and have success, but I have seen teams take safeties in the top 5 and have success with those safeties. Okay. That's a fact.
But Luke, not Luke, Drew, what team honestly recently has tanked?
Well, let's talk about it in this. Let's talk about it in the context of the Detroit Lions, shall we?
We did it last year.
No, because we're not purposely tanking.
We did it last year.
But that wasn't a purposeful tank.
Right. And they wasn't trying to tank. If you watch them games, there's no way you can watch them games and tell me they was trying to tank. It's no way in hell.
No, the players played hard. The players played hard.
I think that might be a legitimate disagreement of how we're coming at tanking. So Drew, when you say tanking, do you mean intentionally losing games in order to get a better pick?
No. Here's what I mean. Let me give you an example.
Yeah, I think that's going to clarify.
So let me give you an example. Frank Ragnow last season played 5 games. He had turf toe, right? So I've torn ligaments in my body. It sucks. So, however, turf toe is not the kind of injury that you necessarily have to shut it down for the season. They did shut him down for the season. He had surgery during the season and used that time to recover, right? At the end of the season, TJ Hawkinson got hurt. They shut him down. Did they have to? If they had meaningful games, and both the players and the organization have come out and said this, if they had meaningful games at the end of the season that they were playing for, those 2 could have played. But they made the decision to shut them down earlier than they would typically and keep them off the field. Now, the way that I see that is if Luke and William and anyone else who shares that opinion are correct, then both the player and the organization would want, what is this now? Oh, sure. So like, right. So I'm a loser. I understand because I believe in tanking. So I get it. So like, the problem is that if you decided to shut those two guys down, they're two of your starters. I think it's more likely that you lose games without them. So like I saw those moves, or like cutting Jamie Collins in the middle of the season in order to give Derek Barnes snaps.
No, that's BS.
No.
Hell no. No, they cut Jamie
was
Collins because Jamie Collins was hot trash and wasn't even giving effort. And if you watch that,
he's better than a rookie.
He was not. If you watch Jamie Collins week 2 versus the Packers, that man had multiple angles where he could have made a play for a loss, and he jogged or bullshit or did whatever the hell he was doing. Half the time I didn't know what the hell he was doing. In fact, when they lost that game, the fan base was talking about Jared Goff. I went the hell off, made a whole video, because I said this bullshit is unacceptable. This whole entire attitude of not doing it. Jamie Collins he didn't care. He didn't want to be here, and he showed it on the field. He had no effort whatsoever. Plus, what that did was it sent the message to everybody else. Don't get too damn comfortable. You need to do it. Plus, go back down the stretch. I'm not telling this. For some reason, people seem to think that I'm saying that tanking does not happen in the NFL. I'm not saying that tanking doesn't happen in the NFL. What I said was tanking is a loser's mentality because I want to win. And people who want to win are never saying tank. Hell, Brady left the damn Patriots. And Brady left the Patriots, and the Patriots fan base ain't screaming tank so we can get another quarterback. You know what they did? They stayed where they was at. They won the game they won. They lost what they lost. They had a bunch of injuries, and they took another quarterback. Problem solved. But it's not like they did it on purpose.
Okay, so I think the major thing. So the major difference between how Luke and I are viewing tanking versus Drew is that when Luke and I hear tanking, it's intentional losing for the express purpose of getting a better draft pick for the next year.
That's exactly what it is.
That's how we're hearing it. When Drew hears tanking, so correct me if I'm wrong, Drew, but it feels like you're like when we don't put Frank Ragnow in back when he can, that also constitutes as tanking, even though we can get 2 starters back at the end of the year.
Right.
Instead they shut him down for the rest of the year.
Right.
So to me, I don't define that as tanking just because at that point we're already out of the playoff race.
Right.
That story. But
at that point, that's development, William. That's development that you're talking about. That's development that you're talking about because at that point you're already out of the playoff. You was 0-8 at that point. You had nothing to play for. You're not tanking by saying, let me get this guy a head start to heal up so he can be fresh for us. And I still got guys I got to evaluate in the process. I just don't see that as tanking. Tanking, if you look at the traditional definition of tanking, it is the exclusive right of losing to get a better draft pick to pick up an asset. That's what tanking means. When you look at tanking, when tanking first came out, it started in basketball, hockey, because people were tanking in basketball, and you still see it to this day where they're tanking to get picks. Cleveland tanked they hard away to get LeBron James. And the same thing happened with Kobe, and the same thing happened with what's the big dude that looked like he eating his way out of the NBA, Zion Williams. That guy, you know what I'm talking about? That's where it happened.
Yeah,
they were tanking for those reasons. But that's what tanking is. It's an exclusive reason to do it. However, this show isn't about that. I just want to bring that up. That to me, tanking is a losing mentality. And Drew, I respect your wishes that you don't think that's the case, and I totally get it. Lions Rumble has joined us. What's going on, good brother?
What's going on, fellas? What's going
on? Not much.
Hey, I had to get in here.
I got
who's tanking on purpose?
I don't know.
I just think I think he purged last year's roster, and I think he balanced the books. I mean,
well, sure.
There was quite a bit of BS players who you could tell were just there to get paid, and who would have gotten away with it had it not been for them getting a new coach and GM in, and these guys want to win.
Sure.
So I absolutely believe it was to, weed out the issues of those purge all those contracts and just get some youth in there. So
I agree, but
I think they were
Keep going.
competitive in a lot of those games. It's not like we it's not like we didn't show up. Yeah, we could have
right.
probably won a couple more games, but like
Drove me
you
nuts.
guys were saying, there was no way we were going to go to
He
playoffs.
said it
with that
drove him
roster.
nuts.
Yeah, no, it drove me nuts too, man.
He
That
said
tie
it
with
drove-
the Steelers.
He said it drove me nuts. But
that Steelers tie. So that was the tie happened before any wins, right?
Yes.
Yes, but
And
that
when they
catapulted the
tied
wins.
that game, first of all, tying in professional sports just makes me angry. But
I swear, right.
But when that tie happened, I was like, "There's no way this is good. There's no way that this is good for anybody."
No.
And lo and behold, if Jacksonville had done the right thing and went out and beat Indianapolis, what I bet I'm going to do, it's the tie that made the difference between us getting the number one pick in the draft. And that's my issue, because whether or not it's Kyle Hamilton or someone who if Aiden Hutchins, if they take Trayvon Walker and Hutchinson's there, or if they liked Walker, or if they like Thibodeau or Sauce Gardner or Willis, or that is 6 guys that we are talking about that is in contention for the Lions, and they all have realistic possibilities of being drafted. There's a future out there that's not crazy where the Lions take every one of a half a dozen players. And the reason why I would rather that they be really bad for a while, as opposed to doing what they're doing, which I recognize is valuable, which I recognize you want to be able to do eventually, is that when they're ready to win, when they are ready to go for it and challenge Green Bay, shoot for the playoffs, doing the kinds of things that you guys want them to be able to do year in and year out, I want them to be able to sustain it. And what I have not seen is that when Detroit improves to a level where they are picking 12, 14, 16, whatever it is, that they are able to sustain winning. Now, new regime, I understand that. I think I like the way that they're building the team. I am simply saying, and for everyone in the chat, so that they understand where I'm coming from, I would prefer that we are bad at the beginning of the Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell reign in Detroit for last year and this year. And I mean really bad. Go out there and work hard, but get the loss bad. So that they have better resources, so that they, to Rumble's point, that they can make in-season moves to clear the roster of the players who do not espouse the philosophy that they want on the team, who are eating up valuable cap space, so that they can develop rookies that they are drafting. But those rookies, which I think that Campbell did a good job of thus far, so that they can develop. That's all valuable. I'm not shitting on any of that. My problem is that the position that the Lions are right now at 2 is a position that no team should be in at 2. No team should be we don't know, or and the problem that we have as fans is that the Lions give us no information as to what they're actually thinking about doing. So we're in the dark.
All right, I have a quick question.
Well,
hold on. I want to read this comment because Lavish Life says, Luke, the Pelicans did not tank for Zion. They had a 6% chance to get the number 1 pick. It's not like the NFL solely by record. There were 7 teams worse than Noya when they drafted Zion. Okay, I thought, I could be wrong, basketball is my third love. Maybe I like baseball in person second, but that's another story. But I thought what happened was towards the end of their season, they dropped a lot of games.
They weren't a top 3 draft lottery though.
Right, but then they dropped a lot of games towards the end because they was trying to increase
I mean, they still suck, but they
So
still weren't bad enough to have like a top 3 percentage.
And again, I could be wrong. Levis life, basketball not my first love. I'm just going football is. So I'm sorry, but to me, and I've already admitted that tanking works maybe in the NBA, but not in NFL. It's just not. And then to for that point, I would also say this too, that I do not believe that what you said, Drew, is crazy or anything like that. I don't. But there isn't a pick that's worthy of the first overall pick. There isn't a pick that's worthy of the second overall pick. And to take a player based on generic systems like positional value or just because it's a pass rusher doesn't make sense.
Test? Can I?
The eye test. Hold on, wait. The eye test is the only thing that matters. And you can literally go back and look at many of the players in the league who are successful in the league, and you're going to tell me that nobody ever said they're successful statistically. The statistics just help support what the eyes already see. Mm-hmm. But sure, I guarantee you, when they come out of college, everybody's eye test is what's telling them what that player is going to be.
I'm sure someone's eye test told them that Tom Brady would be the best quarterback in his life.
It did. It told Bill Belichick that.
I have a question, guys. All right,
go ahead, William.
So, how about we disentangle it a little bit from the first pick? So, Drew, if you're good with this, how about we go? If they take a D end at 2,
sure.
Who's our pick at 32?
Okay.
Or Sin, maybe?
Crimson what?
Briskers or Sin, maybe? Maybe,
So that's a good point.
Hold on, Crimson. I really, because William asked the question directly to Drew, I want that conversation to be between.
So that's Crimson makes a good point.
This is more meant for everybody.
Crimson makes a good point. So, let's say that Brisker or Scene are there. It's a safety, right? Like he's saying, like, do you take safety next, right? That's a summation of what he's saying.
Yeah.
So I know what I would do, Crimson. Do I have any guess as to what the Lions front office is going to do? I have no idea. So I can tell you what I would do. And there are certain players on the board that I would just draft, let's say, regardless of position, so I don't have to defend myself on the position thing time after time after time. But so the one thing that I really do believe, even though I don't believe most of it, that Brad Holmes said, is that they want playmakers, right? And when I look at the roster, and this just is my opinion, I don't see a ton of playmakers on any position. Like, I can name almost all of our cornerback room. I don't know that any of them are playmakers at their heart. Like Kyle Hamilton, if they take him at 2, I would define him as such. He is a playmaker. I don't think that Romeo Okwara is. So to answer your question, William, what would I do at 32?
If they took a DN first.
If they take a DN first. So let's say it's Thibodeau, right? What would I do? I would see what wide receivers are left on the board. And here's why. Number one, I think that the offense is closer to, quote unquote, being a complete package than the defense is. Is the defense worse? Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. My question is, say you take an approach that Carolina took like 2 years ago, where they basically go, everything is defense, right? You're going to go DN, safety, linebacker, whatever. If that gets the defense from, let's say it was ranked 28th in the NFL last year. If that takes the defense from the 28th, from spot 28 to 20, and your offense is ranked 10th, are you making the playoffs? I don't know. I would think not. But I think that if your offense was, say, 6th and your defense was 28th, you have a chance. Not a great one. I think you have a better chance. That's the direction that I would head. So, like, if there was George Pickens on the board, if there was Jahan Dotson, someone who could complement and help not only Jared Goff, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, who would make DJ Chark's job easier, who opens something up for TJ Hawkinson so that play action gets run for DeAndre Swift. Yeah, that's the piece of the puzzle that I would try to solve.
All right, can I jump in for a second? Can I jump in for a second? And then, because the receiver pick is intriguing to me, because if you take the receiver, whose spot is he taking? He's not taking DJ Chalk's spot. He's
Nope.
not taking Josh Reynolds' spot.
Yep.
I think you like Reynolds.
Reynolds more like a depth.
Huh?
So the starting wide receivers on the
Did-
Detroit
wait,
Lions
wait.
are Amon-Ra St. Brown and DJ Chark, and that's it.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. And you have 3 guys who are basically
I
the
guarantee
same talent
you.
level.
Wait a minute. I could be wrong. What is the contract they gave Josh Reynolds? 2 years? 3 years? What the hell was that?
Yeah, it's a 1-year deal basically.
I
Let me
understand
look
that.
it up.
I understand that. But the original deal, if they wanted to, they can have him for 2 seasons. I think it is, right?
Yes, they can.
Okay. And Josh Reynolds was brought here solely because of Jared Goff and him had chemistry back in LA.
Sure.
He's the starter.
He's not a starter.
Also to note, 2 years, $6 million.
Yeah, that's not starter money.
So to me, Josh Reynolds, if he is balanced between third receiver and fourth receiver, you're giving him about 500-600 receiving yards. So it might as well be a starter. Like he's just not. I don't think he's good enough to be. He's 11 personnel. I don't think he's beating out Quintez Cephas. Now, if his connection's better with Goff, then yeah. But
I think Quintez Cephas, Khalif Raymond, and Amon-Ra St. Brown are your slot receivers, and Josh Reynolds and DJ Chalk are your outside X and Y.
Okay. So the way that I see it is that St. Brown is your full-time slot receiver. You put Chark on the outside and you draft another player who's better than every other wide receiver on this roster currently, whether or not you're paying them or whether or not they have a connection with Jared Goff in order to make the team better. Like I don't want to settle for Josh Reynolds as the 3rd best wide receiver on this team.
I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you to settle. I'm telling you what they're doing. I really believe that Josh Reynolds and Chalk are your outside guys.
Then I believe that they really believe in Deshaun Elliott and they don't need to draft a safety in this class because they signed a backup who was let go from another team.
But
because he plays that same position.
Here's the difference, Drew, between your belief and my belief.
Okay.
Here's the difference between those 2 beliefs.
Sure.
I can look at this roster as it stands right now and say, yes, they got to add a receiver. But nothing about this roster tells me they got to add a receiver high. And the fact that they already know that they brought in Chark, they brought in Reynolds, they brought Khalif Raymond back. You still got Amon-Ra. That's 4 receivers. Quintez Cephas is coming back, who was a really big target for them last year. Right. That's 5. They can always add another receiver. Granted, they could, but this is the same guy who waited.
Don't exclude Hot.
Hold on. This is the same guy who waited until the 4th round to take a receiver because he was like, receivers come a dime a dozen.
That's not true.
Really? Yeah. He literally said
Jamar Chase is a dime a dozen. Justin Jefferson is a dime a dozen.
Receivers. Hold on. Wait a minute. Receivers come a dime a dozen. Are you denying that?
I do deny that. Yes.
So I guess what Drew's more pointing out is that number 1 alpha wide receivers are not a dime a dozen. That wide receivers you can get that contribute at number 2, 3, and 4 spots.
We have that
are
set.
a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
It's Drew who's looking for that dominant number 1. Is that what you're looking for, Drew? Or
so
am
I guess William, and I'd love to see your face as I'm talking to you right now.
Oh, my bad. I forgot that was still up. My bad.
But William, the way that I would describe what you're trying to clarify here is that what I see is that I see a division of talent at this position on the roster currently. The way that I see it is you have, if you want to, we can put it into tiers, right? Tier 1 being starters. I see the starters on this team that have the talent to start on other teams as being DJ Chark and Amon-Ra St. Brown. End of story. Now, I see that whether it's Khalif Raymond, Trinity Benson, Quentin Cephas, Josh Reynolds, whether it was Tyrell Williams or Brashad Perriman last year that they signed to really cheap 1-year deals too, which they didn't resign either guy, I would say that all of those players fit a backup or situational role in the NFL based upon their talent level. And what I want, I'm high. I don't use drugs. So but what I believe that you could acquire. Yeah, we just drafted him on Ross St. Brown, Sun God. So like, what I believe that you could get at 32 or 34 is a wide receiver, which I view as a more valuable position than safety. You may not. That's fine, right? We all love safeties here. So I think that you can get a more impactful player at that position that will help this team win. That's what I would do. And I think that it's very difficult to figure out, quote unquote, who the quote alpha wide receiver is. So like Justin Jefferson went 17. He was viewed as a slot receiver. Those guys typically aren't alphas, I would say. He turns out to be an amazing wide receiver. So can something like that happen? I would rather take the chance that something like that happens. I don't have a problem with them drafting Brisker or Seen, but like if you take the wide receiver first, you're probably gonna have a chance at one of those two guys. After the Jags pick in the second. That's my take.
All right. What about Rumble? What about you? Who would you take if we took a D end? Number one, who's your pick at 32?
I got to go with what he was saying. He wants perimeter players, but I get what Drew's saying. Our offense is much more closer to being complete than the defense. We can all agree on that.
Mhm.
That O-line is by far one of the best in the league once we see them all healthy. But I would definitely, I would have to go with the perimeter player. Whether it be another DN or whether it be a safety or another corner, it's got to be. We still have so many holes in that side of the defense to where we run the risk of just what we did with Stafford, like putting up 49 points, going back and forth like that. I think we have to have something on that defense. We have to have some playmakers. We do have to address that secondary. But I get what Drew's saying. I
just look at it like this. One, shout out to my man Nick Gunjack. I'm about to say that right. He says Holmes wanted to trade up for Chase. He out his own mouth. I Googled this. That was a rumor that he wanted to trade up for Chase. He stated that they wanted a player at the same position. This
doesn't matter. They took Sewell. Right.
But hold on. Stay with me. I want to make this point though, because this is where sometimes communication can get misled, in my opinion. The idea that he was just so sold to trade up for Chase Young. If he was so sold up to trade for Chase Young, he would have did so. If you look at that room and you watch that end of the end episode, they were sweating bullets, praying to God that Sewell got to them. The receiver was never the thought. They just wanted the offensive tackle, and that's the truth. That's 100% the truth. No matter how much you want to like it or dislike it, if they were going to trade up for quote unquote him, the same way that they told Michael Parsons, "You're the pick at 7." If they were all that shit was true, Parsons was still there. If they wanted to trade up, they could have traded up, and they had opportunity to do so. They did not. They were trying to trade up for Sewell, and you seen it in the video where Dorsey told him, "Just be cool, he'll fall to us." And the moment the Dolphins selected Waddles, they lost it because they could not believe he was there. That does not tell me that that's the team that was so sold on trying to trade up for a receiver. And that's not how it went down. You can go and find this proof anywhere. If you disagree, go and find the proof. Now, Crimson, you've been waiting patiently, man. What are your thoughts on this? On this pick for the Lions coming up? Obviously, because to me, I agree with William, and I've been saying this for the longest. Pick 2 dictates 32 and 34.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. Whatever you pick. If you pick safety, you're probably going to want to go DN at 32. If you pick DN, you'll probably want to go safety or wide receiver. You can go a lot of ways in this draft. I've been having a lot of fun in these mock drafts. You see me in the Discord. I've been posting a lot of them because it's actually pretty fun doing the mocks this year. I'm not going to lie. As a matter of fact, I actually had a question for the chat, and I don't know if I'm wrong in this when I believe a winning team, it's not really a matter of the whole tanking thing. Yes, I agree. Tanking definitely can help. Definitely get your superstars and everything. I definitely agree with that. But what I think actually makes a winning team, it's a coaches league. And the reason why I think this is a coaches league is because you look at players like Bill Belichick and Kyle Shanahan. How do they win? They win by developmental, next player up. How many times has Kyle Shanahan had somebody hurt on the 49ers, and he next guy up, and he just plays. He just had how many running backs hurt? Next guy up performs the same. That's kind of why I see the free agents we brought back. The one thing that's really underrated that I like that Dan and Brad brought up, and no coach I've ever heard say this before, and I love this, is player development. We've never had anybody ever preach player development, and I would love that. It's like, can we work on what we have now instead of just bringing in somebody? It's like, can we build up our depth? Because that's always what killed us for years. Every time we'd have someone hurt. Oh, Ziggy's hurt. Oh, we're screwed. Oh, Slay's hurt. Kill me now. We never have depth. We never had development. And I think that's what's always hurt the Lions. We never had a coach that ever focused on that. Am I
true.
wrong?
No, that's true. I think that's why when I look at this team and people say, "Oh, what's been wrong with the Lions?" Or it's talent. No, Lions have had talent. Lions. I think the Lions might be in the top 5 teams with the most like Hall of Fame players. Like they find talent. Talent is not the issue. We just ain't had no coach.
No coach, no depth, no nothing. I'd love to hear what Drew thinks if I'm wrong or crazy in that statement. I think player development's a big thing, and we've been terrible about that for years. Our depth has never been. We just here's our first line, second line. Oh no.
I agree with you. So here's my thoughts, I guess. Like do they need depth? Absolutely.
Oh yes.
It's an absolute necessity to have depth. Here's the problem: they don't have starters yet.
Fair enough.
So here's what I see them doing. This is how I interpret their moves. When you bring back the guys that they bring back, and then you come out in the press and you say we're going to build through the draft. That to me, that's a clear delineation based upon the types of move that I've seen them make in free agency. To me, the moves that they made in free agency were depth moves. Deshaun Elliott is. I don't feel Deshaun Elliott is a starter. I don't feel that Gerard Davis is a starter. I don't think that Josh Reynolds or Khalif Raymond are starters. I think that they're going to get an opportunity because this team is so bad. But I don't view them as starting quality players.
Would you read?
The chat hates my guts. So it says, looks like Matt Patricia. I don't trust him.
What?
So,
That's
sorry,
hard, man.
That cut deep. The chat kid really hit me hard right there. So, but so to your other point, Crimson, which I think is an extremely good one, like player development, right? So I think that is something that the coaching staff has put a very high emphasis on, right? So like, I think that you saw the fact that St. Brown and Derek Barnes and Penei Sewell and Onwuzurike and Ali McNeil got the snaps that they got in their very first seasons, not only speaks to the fact that there's a lack of overall talent on the team, which warranted them having these snaps, but I think that the coaching staff understands that the best way to gain that experience and get it quickly is to put them on the field. So now we're going to advertise it to everybody. That's awesome.
I mean, I was trying to find an actual quote so the people, in case somebody doing the close capturing thing, they can at least see it. Yeah, it's still a good joke, Drew. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was. Everyone got a smile, so that's
No, I agree with.
He needs to start saying to that standpoint at every sentence.
Yeah,
right.
That's why
I agree. I think we purged this roster though. I think we made a lot of salary cap space, and I think with the whole, us being under a microscope this year with the whole Hard Knocks, I think that's going to be our calling card. It's going to be our advertising, so to speak, to what this coaching staff and what these guys are going to bring. And I think we're going to get more players kind of like DJ Chark, who are going to be like, I like what these guys have to say. I want to be here, But yeah, I think we did draft a bunch of, like you said, depth players. And I think they're smart in doing that only because if we're able to keep this whole coaching regime as long as we can, I think that's gonna dictate how far this team is gonna go as well. If we're able to keep Aaron Glenn, even though we all know he's probably not going to be around, maybe another season or two. Yeah. But if we're able to keep the same, because I think that's the issues we had before. We would change coaches, 2 years into it.
Right.
But I think we need to just, bear down and get these guys in here and have that same core group of guys.
I got to throw a flag on the play. You said bear down. That's a
I'm
direct
sorry. I'm
reference
sorry.
to the damn Bears.
Yeah,
Flag on the play.
I know, man.
Okay.
Yep.
Pride Nation here.
But yeah, I think we need to. I hope we're able to keep this coaching regime together for at least 3 or 4 seasons. That way we can get the final. That way we can kind of see the form that they're molding this team, and we can get a good look at what they're trying to do as far as scheme, as far as what they want to do. Man, I apologize about the whole bear down. That was terrible.
Hey, no, you good.
No,
You good. I heard bear down. I went, now wait a minute. What?
Isn't that where we want the Bears though?
I'm just saying.
Yeah, we want them down at the bottom. Yeah.
Right.
T Family says, Luke, if Lions slack any other position than DN, quarterback first, I believe Holmes know what he's doing, and his picks may surprise us fans, hopefully. Yeah, listen, I have said this many times. I'm going to support whoever they select. I supported Okuda until I couldn't do it no more. I supported Jared Goff until I couldn't do it no more. I will support the picks. I want them to be good. I want to win. Losing has been too long and too often. I'm over it. And I want to win. So if they take a quarterback, yes, I would be surprised. Hell, I was shocked when we went D tackle back to back like we was Drake. So if he does that again, it is what it is. I get it. Now, I do want to play this, though, because I thought Drew brought up a point about bringing in the people and the talent. This is what Brad Holmes said during the media session again at the meeting. Wait a minute.
Oh, the internet. Luke had a problem.
Nah, I really think I have an internet problem. Wait a minute.
I think the problem is that you're trying to use it. I think that's the number one problem there.
Hold on.
Yeah, but I think we're more closer on the offensive side, which is why I don't think we need to
hate that ad.
Go so high. So those first draft picks we get, I think we do need to address the defensive side of the ball, because I agree with you. We're only I feel like we're less pieces away from the offensive side.
It depends on who's there at 32, because like imagine if there's like 4 receivers there, they really like going like one linebacker.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree.
All right,
yeah,
gotta fix.
It's gonna be crazy. All right, go ahead. My bad, Luke.
It's the best offensive line in the league. You know what I mean? So, you want it to be the best. So we can add everywhere.
I just want to follow sort of what Justin asked too, like because you have just about everybody back defensively. What is the reason for optimism that you're better right now defensively than you were? Charles did have his best year, and Tracy had a good year and everything, but like Justin said, you guys were the 31st ranked defense.
Yeah, well, I think it was a lot of. I think everybody was figuring everybody out last year. We had new scheme in place, new system in place. Dan first year, permanent head coach, me first year GM, and we had to go through some adversity, early on. And I think, as the season progressed, especially that second half, when, a tweak was made here or there, some players that were added, it started to come to fruition. But even from a defensive standpoint, we did make some tweaks schematically too. So, and I think that's a testament to Dan, because he always remains open-minded and says, like, well, what's the best thing for the players that we have? And so to have, a coach that's that open-minded, at all points, whether things are going good, whether things are going not so good, I think that's always an advantage. We're very happy for, guys like Charles Harris, guys like Tracy, when they have seasons like they had and productive, and they have the continuity that we're bringing back for the coaching staff, and relatively same system, based on being an advantage for us.
Yeah. Tim brought up the next skill set you were looking for. You clearly fits all the physical benchmarks. You talked about the introduction, the character benchmarks. So why 1 year? I think it makes sense with the risk mitigation.
And in case you can hear, he's asking why the 1 year deal.
Sure, yeah. I listened to the same interview.
To maintain continuity.
Yeah, and those are discussions that we have, before we make the decision.
That clipping sound is not nobody clipping in there. That's actually in the video.
But we're very well aware that, look, end of the year, we might have, hopefully we're in a position where, we're looking to sign DJ back long term, or that we would have to, franchise or whatever it is. There's a lot of different scenarios that you can go down. But end of the day, we just felt really, really good at it. Now, there's a lot of different reasons to go to the 1 year deal, but it's not for anything of like a lack of belief or lack, you know what I mean? It was just, hey, look, I think it was the best fit for both parties, and but it's nothing but optimism that we're looking ahead for.
I just, again, I think Brad Holmes is really good at the art of deception.
Sure.
His ass, he's made it real hard on me. I ain't gonna lie. I've been trying to crack this code. This shit is just challenging. But I also understand that his flaw is whatever he tells Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell don't know how to do this. he knows how to coach and motivate.
He too honest.
Yeah, he way too honest, and I think that's where the problem comes in. That, in my opinion. All right, we've been on for an hour and 50 minutes. I wanted to get this show in because I don't know what's gonna be coming up in the next couple of weeks. My wife is graduating from college with another degree.
Hey,
so I want to. Yes, thank you. So congratulations to you, sweetheart. This is a busy ass week for me. My goal is to go live for the draft, or at least join somebody who is going live for the draft, just depending on how it works, because I did have to get up that morning for my wife's graduation. So yeah, got a lot going on. So I'm gonna be in and out on that Friday of the draft because I'm celebrating a milestone for her that needs to be celebrated, and I could not be more proud of her. So John, you came in so late. John, we're getting ready to leave. We're getting ready to get out of here, John.
What I miss?
John, we getting ready to go. You come in.
Are you serious? Oh,
yeah,
my bad.
Man, you
of course, I picked the perfect timing to come in. Well, hi, and I guess bye, y'all.
So this is what I want to do, because I do want to go through and get the final thoughts of everybody. I need your help in the chat. It's 105 people in here. I need you right now. This is your chance. Put in your final vote on who the Lions will take with the number 2 pick. Keep in mind that whoever you select at number 2 will dictate what happens at 32 and 34. But put in your final vote, and then I'm going to go through real quick and get everybody's last opportunity right now to put it on the record. Starting off with you, John. Who are the Lions selecting with the number 2 overall pick?
Well, because Aiden Hutchinson will be gone, as much as I want Kyle Hamilton, Thibodeau,
got it. Drew, your chance to lock in your pick. Who will be the final one?
Aiden Hutchinson, because the Jags will take Trayvon Walker.
Listen, I'm starting to think the Jacksonville. I'm thinking the Jags really is going to do that. I think Balky has lost his damn mind.
He's terrible.
That's another story.
He's awful.
Gunner, final prediction. Who do you think the Lions take second overall?
I think if Hayden Hutchinson's gone, I think it'll be Thibodeau. If he's not, I think they'll take Hutchinson.
And again, you can't do this. Raw bidder, this is cheating. You can't say Kayvon Thibodeau or Ahmad Gardner. You got to pick one.
Ahmad Gardner, no, not at 2. No.
I think he's on the board for 2. I really do.
Oh.
I think he's on the board for 2. But
Salty, you can't draft twice.
But you get but you can't do this, and you cannot say who I want. You got to say who they're taking. So we're gonna just put that out there. You got to say who they're taking. So Gunner, I'm sorry again. Who's your final prediction?
If Aiden Hutchinson is gone, it's KT. If he's not, it's Aiden Hutchinson.
So your final prediction is?
All right, I'll just say KT.
There we go. All right, and Lions Rumble 81. My other co-host. Who works just like I work, and he gets in when he can. I appreciate it. Oh, we got a trade back situation. He said he thinks that first pick is a trade back.
Ooh.
All right,
that'd be good.
Yeah, you guys know I'm high on Hamilton, so I think he's that perimeter piece that Brad Holmes is looking for. Even though we did just pick up a safety, I think we're going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if we ran seven guys back there. I just think we're going to be in for a. I think this defense is man, we're going to be in for something special this year if they do decide to go with Hamilton.
All right, Brad Holmes, who we know is not Brad Holmes. We know who this is, but they want it. We're gonna give them the attention they want. Who says who we select at number 2 has nothing to do with 32 or 34. You right, because clearly if they take a quarterback at 2, they're going to take another quarterback at 32.
Best player available.
And then a garbage can at 34.
Right. I mean, right, because it clearly doesn't have anything to do. I mean, in fact, it was so
And then the
telling.
Gatorade table at 66.
I'm just saying, it was so telling that pick don't have anything to do with the other picks. I mean, that's ridiculous. Come on now.
No, not at all.
All right, Crimson, who's your lock in your final pick for the second overall pick?
Well, as high as I am on Kyle, if I'm just going to be realistic here, and I know how this goes, it's probably going to be Thibodeau. It's probably the easiest bet. I'm going with the Vegas odds.
Wow, you going with Vegas? All right. See, Vegas always scares me because every time I think Vegas is doing it, where they do it so where they can win, and the fact that their odds is so high, it scares the shit out of me. But that's another story. This is why I don't bet. William,
right? I'm with you.
William, lock in your final pick, your final prediction.
I really want to say Malik Willis, but here's where I'm going. Hutchinson, if he is at the pick, if he's not there, Jermaine Johnson.
Wow. Wow.
Keep putting some banana hot sauce pop around that.
I mean, I like that, but this is called your final prediction, not 2 choices. Final prediction. Who are they taking that to?
It's Hutchinson if he's there.
We're not talking about if he's there. It's your final prediction. Who do you see them taking? You've looked at all of the possibilities. You have done your research. Who do you see them taking?
Jermaine Johnson, then.
All right. I still didn't see that one coming, but you know.
I like that. As the guy who was a Hamilton stan, Jermaine Johnson's way more likely to happen than that.
I ain't
Damn.
I ain't mad at you. I am
ain't
not
taking a
mad
linebacker at 2.
I ain't mad at you. And again, as I stated before, back in December, and what I stated at the beginning of this video, I stand on it. I think that the Lions are going to take Kyle Hamilton. I just think, given the information that they have, that's my final prediction. Again, the benefit of this is we get to see who's going to be right and who's going to be wrong, and it's okay. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It won't be the first time I was wrong. So, hey, this is part of the process, but we have to, have something to stand on. So I went with it. Y'all know me, good people. I cannot end the show unless I do it on a positive note. So let me thank everybody who popped in here and joined. I am Salty, my man's Ghost Gunner, my man John Kapler, Lions Rumble 81, my co-host, my other co-host William Burks, my soon-to-be next co-host, because I need him around more often, Mr. Drew, because this dude just keeps me alive. Also, Crimson Shadow. Crimson, hopefully you got some good news for me. You got any good news, Crimson?
You guys are gonna have to be like my eyes and ears for when I'm in the draft, because I'm gonna be in Indianapolis, because they're what they have, they don't know if it's like the cancer spread or anything like that.
Okay.
They're thinking, okay, in my case, it dulled it down. So they're thinking it's a lymph node. So my blood work came back, negative tumor markers, which was really good news.
Okay.
So they're thinking what's left in me is either necrosis or something called I forget the name of it.
Yeah, all them Latin words, we're not even gonna play with them. We're not finna. Lord knows I can't pronounce a Nigerian name, let alone a damn Latin word. I suck at Spanish as well.
Anwuzurike.
Nope, nope. You're not gonna set me up. Not gonna set me up.
Melafanu.
So I'm gonna meet
what now? What now? Okay, that's why I like that guy Jeff. Jeff, keep
catch up.
That's simple. But yeah, they're gonna take the lymph node out of me. I got to meet the doctor who's gonna do it. They'll tell me when they're gonna do it. So I'll be in Indianapolis. So you're my eyes and ears for what happens.
All right. Well, we will keep you up to date. I know I would do my best to keep you up to date in the chat, and I'm pretty sure the chat will be going nuts that day. So again, but it's better to hear that the blood work came back and gave you some positive signs, and still praying for you and wishing for you. Again, positive note, people. It is time to unchain yourself. That's the positive word that comes from me today. It is time to unchain yourself. Some of y'all have found too much time latching on to people who do nothing more than drag you down. It is time to unchain yourself. If you are a good swimmer and a person does not know how to swim, why latch yourself on to the person who can't swim? This is the thing that makes me wonder sometimes why we do what we do, but let me bring it all home in a more positive way. The things that are holding you back are often your decisions that puts you in a position to have people in your life that don't want to see you do good. In fact, those things that you are doing that is having you be barred down and locked up and chained to somebody who has no ambitions, no goals, no drive, don't have a good heart, and merely want to be in the picture to see you fail is because you have failed to unchain yourself. Sometimes you got to let a person go. When freedom rings itself, you need to take it by the ears and run out the door and then grabs it at every step of the way. Do not catch yourself trying to hold on to people who do not wish to be held. It's almost like trying to hold the ocean in your hands. It seems like it's possible at first. Even if you freeze it, you think you might get an opportunity. But in the end, it becomes too much of a weight to hold. You have to unlock yourself and get away simply from those people who are not for you. Find people who are for you and lock yourself with them. Find people who have the same love and passion and lock yourself like them. And still turn around and look at those who don't have that same love and passion that you have and learn life lessons. Because when you surround yourself with people who you can chain yourself to, you just may discover that even if you can't swim, they're strong enough to carry you along the way. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. And if you don't do nothing else, stay tuned. I will be back at it again, hopefully on draft day, and hopefully top tier basically got it. He said, so basically, don't try to turn into no wife. I got it. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, don't be no chump. Please do your research, and we are out. We will be talking some draft real soon.